Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Mr. Guerra and today we will be learning how to subtract mixed numbers with common denominators. Now we're going to start off easy, but the last two problems are the most challenging. But don't worry, I'm going to reveal a secret tip on how to solve these challenging problems and make them easy. For now, let's do the following problem. We're going to go ahead and do 3 2/3 minus 1 1/3. Now, anytime we add or subtract fractions, we must always look at the denominator. The denominator is the number downstairs. So we look at the denominator of both fractions and we have to determine if they are common or uncommon, if they are equal or unequal. So in this case, we look at the 3, we look at the denominator, and they are both the same. Therefore, all we have to do is subtract. 2 minus 1 is 1, and the denominator stays the same. Whenever we add or subtract, we only add or subtract the numerator, and the denominator always stays the same. Now, one thing that I should have mentioned is that it is so important to look at the symbol, to look at the sign. Because if you don't look at it, you might not know what to do. Like I've said before, if you run into a stoplight, if it's green, it means go. If it's yellow, it means slow down. If it's red, it means stop. So it's really important to look at the sign. Because if we don't look at it, it might cause an accident. Same thing. If you don't look at the symbol, you may accidentally add instead of subtracting or subtract instead of adding. But today, we are subtracting. So 2 minus 1 is 1. The denominator stays the same. 3 minus 1 is 2. So the answer would be 2 1/3. Now let me show you how it looks with a picture. So we'll take the same fractions, we won't change anything. And let me just go ahead and draw out 3, which are the holes. We have 1 hole, 2 holes, 3 holes. We have all of it. And we have a fraction. So I like to draw pizzas. Now we look at the numerator and the denominator, which is going to tell us how many parts we have. Correct, it's going to be the denominator. The denominator, it tells us how many parts are in the whole. So there are 3 equal parts in this whole. And we have 2. That's what the numerator tells us. So we have 3 wholes, which is represented by this number. And we have 2/3. Where did we get that from? We got that from this fraction right here. So let's say we have this amount of pizza and one of our friends comes over and he eats 1 whole pizza. He was hungry. He ate the whole pizza. Not only that, but he ate 1 slice out of the 2/3 that we had. He ate 1 of them. And now all we have left is 2 whole pizzas and 1 out of 3 parts. All right, so that one was pretty easy. Let's do another one to warm up because the next 2 are going to be very challenging. But don't worry, I will reveal that secret to help you make these a lot easier. So let's go ahead and do 4 5/6 minus 3 4/6. Now, first thing we do, we look at the denominators. Are they equal? Yes. Therefore, all we have to do is subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. And the denominator, is it 0? No, right? Because the denominator does not change. Anytime we add or subtract, we only add or subtract what? Correct. The numerator. Now that we're done subtracting the fractions, now we have to subtract the whole number. So 4 minus 3 is 1. So the answer is 1 and 1/6. Simple, right? All right, so what should we do if we have a problem like this? We have 3 and 1/3 minus 2 and 2/3. All right, first thing we do, we look at the denominator. Are the denominators equal? Yes, they are equal. So now all we have to do is subtract, because that's what the symbol tells us to do. So 1 minus 2 is 1? No. 1 minus 2 is not 1. We cannot do that. So what can we do? We're stuck. What should we do? Don't worry. This is where I'm going to reveal a secret that has helped me make these problems a lot easier. So let's put a pause on this. And let's go ahead and do normal subtraction. So let's say we have 12 minus 3. All right. 2 minus 3, we cannot do that, right? Because the number that we are subtracting with is greater than the number that is being subtracted. We cannot do that. So what do? You guys know this. We borrow, right? We borrow from our neighbor. Our neighbors are always nice. They love to let us borrow things. So we borrow from our neighbor. The 1 turns into a 0. And then we just add 10 to 2, which would be 12. And now we subtract. 12 minus 3 is 9. But what is the whole secret? The secret is that we have to borrow. And a lot of students can borrow very easily with normal subtraction. But when it comes to fractions, they freak out. They get scared. But all you have to do is borrow. And that's what I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to teach you guys how to borrow when subtracting fractions. So now that we're done with this normal subtraction and we learned that we have to borrow, let's go ahead and put it into practice. So 1 minus 2, we cannot do that, so we borrow from our neighbor. The 3 becomes a what? The 3 becomes a 2. But now, how many should I add to the 1? Should I add 10? Should I add 1,000? Should I add 1,000,000,000? How much should I add to the 1? Well, our denominator tells us how much we should add to our numerator. So if the denominator is a 3, we add a 3 to the 1. So 3 plus 1 equals 4. And that's it. But you're probably wondering, so why am I adding 3? Why don't I add another number? Well, because 1 whole is equal to 1 over 1, 2 over 2, 3 over 3, 4 over 4. Because like I've mentioned in other videos, 1 divided by 1 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So if our denominator tells us that 1 whole has 3 parts, well, we add those 3 parts to the numerator, which is what we did. 3 plus 1 equals 4. And now, can we subtract? 4 minus 2 equals what? 2. The denominator stays the same. And now we just subtract the whole numbers. 2 minus 2 equals 0. So our answer would be 2/3. Now if that problem seems a little bit confusing, don't worry. That's why we practice. So let's go ahead and do this one. 6 and 2/4 minus 3 and 3/4. We're going to take this slow and controlled, going step by step. All right, step 1. Always, 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 when adding or subtracting, you guys know this, what should we do? We look at our denominators. Are our denominators equal? Are they common? Are they the same? Yes, they are. So all we have to do is look at the sign. We're subtracting. All right, let's subtract. 2 minus 3. Wait a second. We cannot do that. 2 minus 3 is not 1. 2 minus 3, we cannot do that. Therefore, what is that secret that I told you guys? We have to borrow. We have to borrow. We go to our neighbor. The 6 becomes a 5. And how many should we add to the 2? Should we add 3? Should we add 10? What can I look at that is going to tell me how many I should add to the 2? Well, I look at my denominator. Exactly. So our denominator tells us to add 4 to the 2. So 4 plus 2 equals 6. And now let's see if we can subtract now. 6 minus 3 is 3. 4 minus 4? No, right? Because we do not subtract our denominators or add them. The denominators always stay the same. And now that we're done subtracting our fraction, now we can subtract our whole numbers. So 5 minus 3 is 2. All right, I said we were only going to do 4 problems, but I'm going to throw in a bonus problem to see if you have really mastered the art of subtracting mixed numbers with equal denominators. So let's see. Let's go ahead and do 4 and 1/4 minus 3 and 3/4. All right, I'm going to let you do this one, but I'm going to be asking you questions to see if you can answer them. All right, so step 1 is what? Correct. We look at our denominators. What about our denominators? What are we looking at specifically? Correct. We're looking to see if they are equal. Are they equal? Is 4 equal to 4? Correct. They are. Now we have to look at our sign. Are we adding or are we subtracting? We're subtracting. All right. So now what's next? We subtract, right? 1 minus 3. You're right. 1 minus 3 is not 2. We are unable to do that. So what is the secret that I was telling you guys to do? Borrow. Make sure you borrow, right? All right, so we borrow from our neighbor. Your neighbor is always there to help you. So 4, we borrow, it turns into a 3. And how much should we add to the 1? How much is a neighbor going to give the number 1? Well, we look at our denominator, right? You got it. So we add 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. And now, can we subtract now? Yes. 5 minus 3 is 2 over 4. And now that we're done subtracting our fractions, what's the next step? We subtract our whole numbers. So 3 minus 3 is 0. And the answer would be 2 over 4. Wow, you did amazing. Excellent, excellent job. And if you still feel a little bit unsure of how to do it, make sure you rewatch the video over and over and over again so that you can practice, because practice makes perfect. And thank you so much for watching. And always remember, you are smart, you are loved, and you can do it. Until next time.